How well do you know yourself? Have you ever felt different from other people? Perhaps you walk into a room and something shifts. People pause mid-sentence. The air gets thicker. You didn't say a word, but everyone felt something just from your aura. The great mind of Carl Jung gave to us insights into the unseen. In particular, concepts such as the numinous charge that changes a space. In today's journey, I will share with you 7 signs that showed how Jung identified people who carry archetypal weight. They're simple traits, but they'll show you whether your presence is ordinary or genuinely rare. Let us begin. Sign number 1. You carry a numinous charge. Jung had a word for it, numinosum. It's an overpowering force that grabs the consciousness of those around you and won't let go. When you enter a room, people go quiet, not because you demanded it, but because they can't help it. For those with this numinous presence, they may often find that those around them enter a sudden hush, as if they've stepped into a cathedral. Jung described the numinous as either a quality radiating from something visible or the influence of an invisible presence that rewrites the mood on contact. Not charm or charisma, but an objective energetic shift people feel in their bodies. Furthermore, Jung insisted that being around the numinous is the real therapy because it has the ability to transform suffering by giving it meaning. He even noted an odor of sanctity in peak moments. In other words, something sacred that you sense but can't name. Here's a test to see if you have a numinous charge. Do strange coincidences follow you? Sacred numbers, fateful feelings, synchronicities that make your spine tingle. Jung called this archetypal weather. The numinous attracts these seemingly mystical occurrences. But there's a shadow here to watch out for. Collectives and egos steal numinous power to feel absolute. Cults do it. Ideologies do it. The healthy approach for the numinous isn't self-importance, it's humility before the force. You don't claim it, you serve it. So, do you have a numinous presence? Perhaps so, or perhaps not. Let us know in the comment section if you've experienced weird occurrences like what we mentioned. Next, let's move on to our next sign. Sign number 2. You live from your center. Most people orbit approval. However, those with this sign orbit something else. Jung had a crisis where he drew mandalas daily to track his inner changes. He realized they were cryptograms of the self, the center of the psyche. Then he dreamed of a dark, rainy city with a sunlit island at its core. The lesson he learned: the center is the goal, the inner space within you. In short, life heals and you become stronger when you live from your inner center, not the external things outside yourself. When you're centered internally, others feel it. You have quiet authority that doesn't need applause. People steady themselves around you because you're not chasing validation. You're anchored to something internal and real. Human beings unconsciously pick up on this centeredness and are attracted by it. Moreover, as an added technique, mandala-like symbols also protect against psychic disintegration when the unconscious gets too loud. Jung showed how wheels, quaternities, and even doctrines can channel raw experience into a more coherent form. In essence, if your presence calms panic and organizes chaos toward a calm and clear center, you're carrying this orientation. What's the biggest benefit of this rare type of presence? Living from your center also means you're never alone because you've got company most people can't see. As the Stoics say, you have a strong inner citadel from which to draw power from. Next, being able to understand archetypal figures. Sign number 3. You constellate archetypal figures. Dreams visit you differently. Wise old men, serpents, dark mothers, grand events. They feel alive and real, like characters who showed up without asking permission. During Jung's descent into the unconscious, he met Elijah, Salome, and later Philemon, a winged teacher who taught him psychic objectivity. Jung learned that thoughts and archetypal figures can arrive like guests. The goal isn't to suppress them, it's to converse without being possessed. If you find yourself dreaming bigger than personal figures, then your field is constellating archetypal life. In simple terms, you're interacting with figures that represent something bigger than just mundane life. These presences feel fascinating, absolute, and taboo because they are charged with numen, a sort of spirit or divine presence. They can protect and endanger, the way old myths warned of nixies in deep water. You'll know you're handling them well when symbols brought by them deepen understanding and action instead of ballooning fantasy or wrecking relationships. This is psychic objectivity, treating the unconscious as real but not literal. If you often interact with these hidden archetypal figures in your dreams, then you most likely have a rare ability to tap into things most people cannot. And if you're working with these archetypal figures correctly, something shifts in how you show up in the world. Next, let's look at individuated authority. Sign number 4. You radiate individuated authority. Individuated means you're a true individual, not a mask. This sign is lucid, non-grabby authority. In other words, you can stand apart from the crowd without fighting it or becoming enmeshed in it. Jung said analysis isn't finished until insight becomes obligation in life. After his visions, he described a new objective cognition, born from withdrawing projections, i.e., seeing people as they are, not as carriers of your own inner figures. This isn't coldness. It's freedom from coercive need, the condition for real love and real work. Others feel both respected and challenged by you because you're relating to them, not using or manipulating them. Individuated presence also means you've disidentified from the persona, the social mask, while staying socially related. You balance functions instead of overusing one gift. If you can say a clean no without drama, a clean yes without flattery, and carry consequences without complaint, that's individuated authority. Additionally, this proves to be a strong foundation for a leader, someone who is able to hold their individual self against the crowd, while also being able to relate and guide them. Consider this. Check your last argument. Were you defending a position or protecting an image? How well do you maintain your individuality within groups and relationships while still being able to relate to the needs of others? If your answer is positive, then you may just have the rare presence of a truly individuated person. Next, we'll look at the sign related to the skills of discernment and discipline. Sign number 5. You hold opposites together. Most people split when tension gets unbearable. Good versus evil, spirit versus nature, will versus surrender. You don't. Jung called this the conjunctio, the marriage of opposites within your psyche. His inner teacher once shocked him by saying, "For this we need the help of the black magician." The literal meaning of this is that sometimes wisdom requires cooperation of opposites. In near-death visions, Jung saw sacred marriages where pairs unite without one devouring the other. What does this show? If you can contain the two parts of yourself that scream at you for recognition until they ripen, people experience you as strangely reconciling rather than conveniently positive. The ability to see and accept all sides of something, the duality of both yourself and situations, is a sign that you're able to see the bigger picture. It also means that you've done more integration work with your shadow, anima, and so on, marking you as someone with a strong and completed personality. This shows up practically as needing fewer impulsive fixes and being able to abide with conflict until a symbol, solution, or path arrives that neither side could invent. The ego's need to be a hero relaxes, a wiser rhythm takes over. Your presence becomes a place where enemies can speak, allies can listen, and something new can be born. In simpler terms, if you can create harmony within yourself, you radiate that energy outward as well. And when chaos comes, because it will, you'll do something most people can't: see every side of the puzzle. Next, let's look at calm souls. Sign number 6. You calm chaos into order. When the unconscious surges, most people drown or flee. However, if you possess this sign, you turn flood water into a canal. Jung showed 2 stabilizers: living symbols like mandalas and rightful vessels, rituals, language, even doctrines that give energy a channel to flow through. He demonstrated how wheel images and fourfold forms antidote fragmentation, and how honest relation to the image cools possession. Similarly, if your presence reduces others' compulsions and reframes panic as material for meaning, you're doing this work. Jung was blunt. The numinous heals because it dignifies suffering with purpose. That doesn't mean dramatizing pain. It means translating raw emotions into images and acts that fit reality. People leave you less enchanted by problems and more enlisted in a clear process. Something about you calms other people and creates order where there is panic, confusion, or overwhelm. But there's one final sign, and it's the strangest and most interesting one. Sign number 7. You see patterns beforehand. You know things before they happen. Not psychic predictions, but pattern recognition so deep it feels prophetic. Jung called this introverted intuition. It perceives inner possibilities before facts line up. To others it looks eccentric. To you it feels obvious and compelling. Jung named this type the seer, the prophet, the voice crying in the wilderness. It reads what an outer event releases within, then tracks the image to its consequences. He recorded premonitory flood and frost visions that only later matched collective events, teaching him to honor inner data while checking it against life. If you reliably name the intuitive hit within a situation and stay grounded enough to test it, you carry this rare sight: the ability to see what is unseen, often right before it happens. The trap is drifting within vision without judgment. Those with this rare gift of intuition need to balance their vision with practicality. No getting lost in ideas or abstractions. When you do, your hunches become serviceable maps for others. People come to you not for hot takes, but for orientation and guidance. Think of the Oracle from the Matrix movies. Now, you have 7 signs that you can look out for, in your or others, to tell if you have an extremely rare presence. Trust in yourself, and the rest follows. These 7 signs aren't badges to collect. They're responsibilities to carry. Jung spent his life showing that rare presence isn't about standing out. It's about standing for something bigger than your ego. The numinous doesn't make you special. It makes you accountable. If you recognized yourself here, you already know the work doesn't stop. You serve the charge. You return to center. You hold the tension. And you do it again tomorrow. With great power comes great responsibility. Thank you for joining me on this exploration into Jung's concepts related to rare presence. If this resonated, please let us know which sign fit you the most, and subscribe for more journeys into the depths of practical psychology, philosophy, and personal development. Until next time,